The Russians are preparing to storm the Avdiivka direction. After capturing Avdiivka, they don't stop trying to take over the entire Donbass region, sparing neither machinery nor human resources. In these clips, you can see columns of tanks and combat vehicles with troops forming up, getting ready for the breakthrough in this direction. Everything is set for battle, and the Russians deploy their combat vehicles on the battlefield like chess pieces on a board. But the digital eyes of Ukraine's defense never close, monitoring every inch of the battlefield. In these shots, you can see how a Russian combat vehicle was abandoned due to a failed Russian assault. Ukrainian defense forces launch a drone into the air, which hits its target precisely, taking out this machine. That scrap metal will never move again. And here you see the second machine coming in for support, but the Ukrainian operator spotted in time. The drone hits the compartment with the troops precisely. After that, the terrified troops abandon the vehicle, leaving it on a battlefield. Ukrainians try to destroy it by hitting the frontal armor, but their attempts are not successful. As you can see, the machine is immobilized, but not destroyed. The third and the final drone finishes what was started by hitting the ammunition supply precisely. Watch how it explodes, leaving behind only scorched soil. And here are Russian BMPs and APCs. Different machinery, but the good old FPV drone remains just as effective. The FPV drone hits the rear motor compartment of the BMPs and APCs, igniting them, leaving no chance for further use. And now, that's a situation where the Russians use a broken APC as cover and a place for deployment. Drone operators notice this in time and send an FPV drone with a surprise. Watch how it tears apart that APC. And here's an interesting case. A Russian combat vehicle with a protective anti-drone net. Let's see how it holds up. Surprise, surprise, it really doesn't. The FPV drone as always hits the rear of the vehicle and it burns down completely. As you understand now, Ukrainians not only use FPV drones but also DJI drones to drop surprises into open hatches of vehicles abandoned by the Russians on a battlefield. This tank catches fire due to detonation of its ammunition. Look at that bright flame. The projectile was dropped into the hedge to ignite the ammunition. All of this is done to completely destroy the vehicles and make it impossible for the Russians to recover them. The BMP burns down to the ground. And here again, we're working with hatches, but this time an FPV drone is doing the job. FPV drones require much more skill and precision to hit the target accurately, but the Ukrainians handle this task well. The abandoned BMP burns out, spectacularly exploding. And here's a very expensive tank, a formidable enemy on the battlefield, preparing to strike against the Ukrainian defense forces. But here's what the Ukrainians have prepared as a gift. They attached an anti-tank charge projectile to an FPV drone. A precise hit into the gap between the tank and the turret, right into the ammunition. Boom! $4 million of molten steel. All the damage inflicted by a drone worth $300. Look at how far the turret flew away. Now, the second tank is in action. It's firing at Ukrainian positions. This is the loading mechanism which is located in the rear part of the turret of any Russian tank. It's fast and efficient, but its downside is that it's located in the very vulnerable spot and easily accessed by FPV drones. The tank is firing quite successfully, but the Ukrainians notice it and send 2 FPV drones. The first FPV drone hits and damages the turret mechanism. The tank is now immobilized. The second FPV drone hits the ammunition precisely. The tank goes airborne. At this point, the pattern of destroying heavy vehicles is set. Operators try to approach the tank from behind and hit the ammunition precisely. In 90% of cases, the tank shatters into pieces. Here's a group of vehicles heading for the assault. The operator notices the highest priority target, the tank. The drone targets the tank from behind, which is the most crucial. Without hesitation, the operator directs the drone towards the tank ammunition. Bam! The offensive clearly didn't go according to plan. And here you can see unique footage of how Ukrainians made homemade flying projectiles. Everything is maximally primitive but effective. Look at how this soldier fixes charged projectile with duct tape. The second soldier launches the drone towards the approaching tank. They only have one attempt and the tank is destroyed. That's how Ukrainians destroyed tanks at the beginning of the war. In these clips, a Russian artilleryman coordinates howitzers against the Ukrainian positions. This is the most accurate self-propelled artillery units of the Russians, the 2S-19 MSTA. Artilleryman begins shelling Ukrainian positions. Ukrainian drone operators send birds into the air and locate a single target that's preparing to attack. You can see the moments before the collision between the FPV drone and this SPH. The drone, as always, hits the compartment with ammunition and the artillery piece burns like a matchstick. And these two tanks advance towards Ukrainian positions. Passing by, the first tank does not notice the Ukrainian ambush. Ukrainians open fire from all weapons to draw the tank's attention. Firing a missile from the NLAWS, they miss, but luckily the tank hits a mine prepared in advance. The second tank, seeing the destruction, turns around and heads in the opposite direction, trying to avoid the trap. But it encounters a surprise. It runs over a mine as well. The tanks are destroyed, the trap worked, the assault failed. Mines play a crucial role in this war. They should not be underestimated. In this video, we see an APC driving, thinking it can pass between the mines but ends up hitting an anti-tank mine and flying into the air. Next, we witness yet another example of Russian silly behavior. An assault in unfamiliar territory leads to falling into a trap. The APC explodes, just like that APC attempting to maneuver through a minefield. No luck. And here's a typical Ukrainian trap: scattered mines on the road and in the field. The driver sees craters and assumes there are no more mines there. The sight of destroyed vehicles reassures him, hinting that all mines have been detonated. His decision proves to be a mistake. The APC is destroyed. For tanks, hitting a mine isn't as crucial as it is for BMPs, and in 50% of cases, the crew survives. Often, hitting a mine with a tank results in a track being torn off, and the crew hastily evacuates the vehicle since tanks are prime targets for FPV drones. Naturally, the hatches aren't closed during escapes. As you can see here, the Ukrainian FPV drone flies right into commander's hatch on the turret. The FPV drone ignites the tank's interior, leading to detonation of ammunition. The tank is destroyed. And here you can observe the Russian APC that drove into the blast crater and couldn't get out. To prevent the vehicle from being towed away and repaired, the Ukrainians quickly destroy it with an FPV drone before the evacuation vehicle arrives. The APC completely burns in this pit, not even reaching its destination. And in this video, a Russian MTLB transporting personnel to a position. An FPV drone literally lands on the tail of the MTLB and doesn't detonate immediately. Once the Russians reach the position, the FPV drone then detonates, completely destroying and incinerating the vehicle. FPV drones are capable of destroying both tanks and lightly armored targets. They're incredibly effective weapons on a battlefield. Due to the shortage of ammunition and advanced weaponry, FPV drones have replaced and supplemented extensive artillery shells and various ATGMs like Javelin, as they are very cheap and efficient. All these destroyed tanks, APCs, BMPs, and other vehicles that you can see on the screen are the result of FPV drone operations. It doesn't matter how well armored a vehicle is if FPV drones keep hitting the engine compartment every time. Moreover, the larger the ammunition load, the stronger the explosion will be. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and a comment. Thank you for watching, see you in the next episode.